Dan has tried everything to lose weight, but the binges continue. Now it's time for him to deal with his anger rather than stuffing it down with food.
Nothing I did was working. The more I tried, the more out of control my eating became. Then, I did something I hadn't tried before. I became a savvy detective and figured things out. If I can do it, so can you. Find out more at solveyouroutofcontroleating.com.
Welcome to Solve Your Out of Control Eating. I'm Vicki Todd, a child and adult psychoanalyst and an eating disorders specialist.
And I'm Michelle Holtzberger, a clinical social worker. But in the virtual world, we are savvy detectives
who solve real-life eating mysteries, like today's.
And we're going to teach you how to solve them too. So here we go. Step into our virtual office for this brief therapy session. Then stick around afterwards. You'll hear our detective work and practical advice. Now, here's Dan.
I've pretty much given up on losing weight. I've tried everything: pills, shakes, food, delivery, you name it. Thinking about Ozempic, but I'm not sure my insurance will cover it.
You seem to want to talk about your weight.
That's why I'm here. Well, not really. A neighbor lady referred me to you because she says I'm depressed, but who wouldn't be when you're as big as I am? I can't do anything I used to. Used to work out and be on a travel basketball team. Now I get out of breath going up and down the stairs.
How long have you been overweight, Dan?
4 to 5 years.
Wonder what happened 4 to 5 years ago.
My wife left me.
That's pretty significant. Can you tell me more?
Not much to tell. She just left.
Hard to talk about?
Not really. She'd been having an affair, so she left me, married him. Now she pushes the baby buggy by my house.
What about that?
She wanted to have kids, but there were problems. She finally got pregnant, They had to do it this other way, artificial insemination, but she lost the baby, had problems with her blood pressure or something. I'm not sure if I was a dad for a few hours or not.
Sounds so sad, Dan.
Yeah.
Did you want to be a dad?
Yeah, but I think she blamed me. I was working all the time. My brothers and I were flipping houses. I would leave early in the morning and get home after dark covered in drywall dust. I was so exhausted. I couldn't get her pregnant. So she went out and found someone else who could. I was shocked when our bank account statement came. She had totally drained her checking and savings accounts.
How did that make you feel?
I tried to keep it a secret, but my mom went through the roof. She badmouthed Joyce all over town. He's a big shot realtor, makes a lot of dough. Everyone knows him, dresses to the nines, fake tan, big teeth, drives a Porsche. I think he was a player before he met her, but my wife's really pretty. She's 10 years older than him, but really fit. I guess he's a trophy husband. But I don't think I hold anything against her.
I think some men would be very angry at her.
Why?
Why do you suppose?
She has a right to live a happy life, have a baby. She had a really good job at an accounting firm. I got it for her. She wasn't really qualified, but my fraternity brother was a VP over there and opened all the right doors.
What about that, Dan?
I always tried to help her out when I could, still do. When her mom died of cerebral hemorrhage last year, she asked me to be the pallbearer.
Did you agree?
Yeah, of course. I've known her since junior high school. Known the whole family. Always got along with them. I don't hate her or anything. But I do wish she wouldn't push the baby buggy by my house. Well, actually, I don't care. But she also pushes it past my mom's house, and she gets rip-roaring mad. Then I have to hear about it.
Now comes the detective work. Let's see if we can figure out why Dan is overweight.
While I was listening to Dan talk, well, I was listening for feelings. And let's see what I've got here. The only one I heard was his mom's rage. That's significant, but let's come back to that later and focus on Dan. This session reminded me of an earlier one we did on a young woman named Beth. That's where we talked about missing feelings, not missing someone's feelings, but an absent feeling. And things just don't add up with Dan. Based on everything we know, he certainly got the shaft by his ex-wife.
Yeah, she had an affair and then left him for another man.
Cleaning up the bank account on the way out the door.
And then pushes the baby stroller by his house.
Not just his house, but also his mother's, as if to say, see, I can have a baby. Your son was the problem. And I think he was. I think Dan has sexual problems. And she wanted a baby. But pushing the stroller by his house, that sounds very vindictive to me.
And then to top it off, she asks him to be a pallbearer for her mother.
And he agrees. And we see all over the place where he would be angry. But Dan totally denies that. In fact, he tells story after story as if it happened to someone else, with no hint whatsoever of the expected feelings. Mad is the missing feeling, and we know that mad feelings don't magically go away. So what happened to them?
You know, in an earlier video that we did with Beth, I think Dan is doing the same thing, stuffing feelings inside and stuffing them with food.
That's what I think too. Depression is anger turned on the self. So that's what I think is happening. But there's more. And here's where we return to the mother, his enraged mother, that is. Does Dan's mother have some of his mad feelings for him? This would be a totally unconscious process on Dan and his mother's part. But this would allow Dan to be the nice guy. Sure, I'll be a pallbearer for you after you totally screwed me over. I bet the mother, who has no problem having her mad feelings, was livid at both Joyce and Dan over that one.
I bet so too. You know, you said something really important about depression is anger turned on the self. And for those people who out there who are struggling with depression, do you have any suggestions?
Yes. Now that you know that depression is anger turned on the self, grab that magnifying glass and go searching for answers. What is going on in your life that would make you feel angry? Can you talk to a trusted friend about those feelings? If not, then write about them in your journal or vlog and become curious. What happened in the past when you got angry or someone else did? In other words, why is it so hard for you to have your mad feelings? Why must you turn them on yourself?
So, for any new listeners out there, feelings, not being aware of feelings, is really often the core issue related to binging and other eating disorders. And these videos are meant to help you with what we call your noticing skills so you can achieve mastery over that. So, we invite you to listen to our other episodes for more insights. And we invite you to give us a like and subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any future episodes. And remember,
Keep searching for clues.